So today I'm going to talk to you about Creatures of Sonaria, with a emphasis on MMO environments for teachers thinking about or looking for ways to incorporate uh, high engagement activities into what they're teaching. So what I've got right here is Roblox, and inside of Roblox is this Creatures of Sonaria. And I did this investigation because I needed to pick one to investigate. Roblox is free for end users. There are many things that you can pay for, but the baseline is free. And my kids were playing it, and I said, "What should I play?" And they said, "Well, we're playing this now." So that's how I ended up doing Creatures of Sonaria. Um, so let's take a look. One thing I want to tell you before I move into this game is that in all of these Roblox games, you can get a private server. So when I click on this, we're down here where you see the three dots right there. One of my choices here. Hang on. No, it's this one right here. This little person. You see, it says create private server. I can pay to have a private server, which could be very useful if you're trying to have a class, because it would just be your class in that server. Now, for this program specifically, it's roughly $6 a month to have a private server. The public servers, you can all join the same public server. And I'm not going to get into the details of that, but I'm sure your students can explain it to you. But you will end up just with random people that you can't control or even have any accountability to you at all on your server. So if I was going to try to use it with a class, I would definitely get a private server. You just need to know that there's going to be some small expense involved. That would be not $6 per player, but just $6 for you as the teacher to do a private server, and then you can invite the students in there. The students are not going to have to pay extra. They just need a password to get into your private server. Okay. And in that environment, you have a lot of control. Okay. And the exact controls you have in a private server depend on the game. I have not actually paid for a private server for this. I just know for a fact I can get one. So let's go in. So in this game, you play as a fantasy creature who can move in the world. Some of mine are dead, as you can see right there. But you can move in the world, and you grow up over real time to an adult and then an elder. And if you are eaten by another creature, then you go back to being like you can either use either money to revive the character back to where they were, or every day when you log in, you get an in-game currency token, and if you have 5 of them, you can just revive your character. So there is a barrier to reviving a character. Usually I just restart. It would take me about maybe an hour for my character to grow all the way up to an adult. So let's just go in and take a look at what kind of stuff we have here. I'm going to go to this one because this is let me get out of your way. So this one here is a flying creature. And all of these are fantasy, but they have, some of them are carnivores, some of them are herbivores, some of them are omnivores, and then they actually have they have one that can just survive off of, some of them that don't need water. Most of the ones need water. So this symbol right here means you need water. This symbol right here, you need food. And it'll say once I get into this game, this particular creature is a carnivore. He's kind of a pterodactyl-like creature. And this is what he looks like, right? He's like, and he can take off and fly. Over here, let me move out of the way on this side. Over here, you can see I have a fly button, an attack button, sprint. This means grab another creature. This means ambush. And so I'm going to take off and fly. And I'm going to go up here. Fly up on top of this rock and land. is a relatively safe place for me to be unless another flying creature decides to come up here, and then they could attack me. But a lot of the creatures can't get up here. So some of the creatures are aquatic, and there's places with the sea, and there's just a lot of cool stuff. There's some main things you can do. Is you see the sniff button right there. That means that you can detect things around you. Like there's some water, so I'm gonna go over here and get some water. This right here means that I'm halfway down on my water supply. This means I'm very low on my food supply. I'm a carnivore, and there are meat places that spawn in the world, or I can just eat other players. So I'm gonna go over here where I happen to know where some food is. We land. Alright, so this, I didn't quite go far enough. Oh, here's some meat right here. Here's some meat. And when I walk up to the meat, it says eat. And I click the eat button, and I'm eating, and it fills up my little bar right here, right? It's filling that up, but I ate up all that meat, so now I gotta go find some more meat. Oh, there's some more. So, carcass, eat. This one's got a lot of food, and you'll just see my bar fill up like that. So this is a great emulator for an environment, a wild environment. If I was teaching ecosystems, I think I could build a lot of background knowledge this way, in the sense that I can, like, a kid just doesn't really know that much about ecosystems. You can tell them, but they can really experience what it's like to try to, because different creatures are herbivores and certain different creatures are carnivores, and you can talk about what that means. And this is all just kind of giving them a reference point so that when you talk about it, it's not all just words in a book. You know what I mean? And that can be very valuable in trying to get the kids to be able to follow what you're doing and be interested in what you're doing. Let's sniff again and see if we can find... Oh, let's go over here and cover our scent by finding some mud. Wherever that is. Let's go over here. I don't want to cross. Okay, let's do it. We'll cross the river again. And I may get eaten because there was a bunch of people over here earlier trying to eat me. And I can back this up a little bit. As you get farther in age, you sometimes gain additional abilities. But mostly what you do in this game is fly around, get food, get water, and try not to die. And you can attack other players if you're just feeling feisty. There's not a whole lot else other than just trying to survive. Okay, this is a mud pile. I can hide my scent. And when I do this, I don't show up on this map anymore. Like, other players can find me unless I've hidden my scent. And this only lasts for a certain amount of time. Okay? So I'm going to go ahead and get out of this game. Now let's transition into a presentation. I've got just a couple things I want to share with you. Let's talk about what an MMO is. MMO stands for Massively Multiplayer Online. And it is a game, or you could have it be something that wasn't a game, but I've never seen it used that way. But it means that there's a shared space where people are interacting with people over the internet, except with a virtual environment. Like in the game I was just showing you, I was this bird creature, but there were other players being different animals in that world. And I didn't want to try to interact with anybody while I was doing my presentation, but you can. And in fact, they'll let you talk to them. Like there's a chat area where you can type in something and the words will appear above your creature's head. Even though I'm a pterodactyl thing, if another person is there, I can talk to them. Of course, there's nothing stopping them from trying to eat me while I do that. But like when I play with my daughter, we'll like meet together, and you can group up into what they call a pack in this game, and we'll just run around together. And mostly we just explore and look for food and water and talk to each other is what we do. These games tend to be extremely social. Like you wouldn't play it if you didn't want to play with other people. That's kind of the point. In this game, the creatures are not even. In other words, they're not all equally powerful. My daughter likes to play this little like glowworm creature who is not very good at fighting, but it can burrow into the ground, and she can move really fast, and she can climb straight up walls and things of this nature. And there is a factor of you can gang up on another character or another player's character. So there's a lot of social element to it, like in other words, your ability to create a group that will work together will affect your outcome, which can be a learning experience in itself. But anyway, let's see what else it says here. Players access the game through the internet. Players are in a shared space, and then you can move. Notice that where I wasn't seeing anyone else. So generally in a virtual world, you can't access everyone all of the time. Now there is a little typing, almost like a text window that will, when I think of texting on my phone, where it'll show everybody on the server and you can talk to them, but you don't actually know where they are in that environment. You can talk to the people right next to you. You can create a pack and just talk to the people in your pack. Okay. Within Roblox, you can also create friends and have direct one-to-one conversations. All right, the pros of Creatures of Sonaria. You can have a private server, and you can invite your class. I think that's a pro if you're going to try to do this in an educational setting. Let's see. The game runs on a cell phone. I've been doing this on my cell phone, which I've got hooked up for recording purposes. The game is free for your students, but you would probably want to get a private server so that you have a lot of control over what goes on. And then it would be a good way to build background knowledge about ecosystems. The cons are that there are very few tools for accountability apart from just who you let in your server and who you don't let in your server. I feel like that with my students, as long as I knew it, like they would all have their own gamer handle, and I would need to know what that was before I would let them in my server. And but then I would have a list of people I could look and see if you can speak to everybody on the server. You can go, everybody who's here, say here, and then they could all say, and you'd see a list of their names. You could probably just screenshot that so that you could have some sense of like attendance. I mean, these are all things that I would think about as a teacher. Like, how do I know the people did it? What did they do? Did they participate? How long were they on? And I don't know of how many tools I have for that in this environment, but it would be pretty fun. I think people would just do it. Like, as long as you gave them enough choices of what kind of creature they could be, everybody could find a creature that they just liked to be. But you still have accountability problems with as far as like how you're going to make a grade for this. What you really just need people to do is play with it for a while and experience it so that you can then talk about like this idea of needing to get food and survival and things of this nature for an animal living in the wild. Now it may become, depending on the class, it may be a problem that people can attack each other. I will say if a character is killed, they can come right back, but they will come back as a baby. The character you saw on the screen that mine was killed earlier today when I was trying to prep for this review. So, but it was not a huge problem. I just came right back, but I come back as a baby and I have to grow up again, which was kind of annoying, but nonetheless, I can do it and you're back in the game. You're not like unable to play at that point. Let's see, the pros of MMOs for education. A shared space can be very engaging, okay? Especially if you just had your class in there, I think that could be very engaging. It feels like being there. So like a few years ago during the pandemic, we had, had to go virtual for everything. And I really had trouble getting engagement with middle schoolers. Like they would just kind of turn on their iPad so they would be in the Zoom and then just walk away. And we had lots of problems trying to just get them to participate over Zoom. They just wanted, because at the home, like their refrigerator's there and their video game system is there, and they would much rather be doing that when they're at home, right? It's just a kind of a ritual conditioning of when I'm at home, I don't go to class, and that was kind of their attitude about it. But this kind of environment would possibly like make it way more engaging. The gamification is inherent in this environment. In other words, you can have all kinds of things you're keeping score of. I could really imagine something more specific for school where you have like everybody's in a shared like building, like some kind of skyscraper or something, and there is all these rooms that you can go into, and there are these activities. I'm imagining something kind of like one of those science museums, like a Discovery Place kind of museum, except it's all virtual and the people can go around and interact with it. I think that could be very engaging. But the only problem with that is it would just require a lot of work to make that so that people could participate in it. So with Roblox, you can literally make your own game. They have tools, development tools, so that you can make your own game, but you have to know how to code in Lua to be able to do it in Roblox, and you have to get your own art assets, which is going to cost you something. So there's a lot of potential, but the actual like efficacy for an educator is questionable. So to sum up, I'm going to just say the game was a lot of fun. I'm not sure I would use it with middle schoolers. I might use it with teachers. I think that could be very educational for them. I'm in here now as some other kind of little creature, and I'm gonna come over here and get some water. Whoop. And he's just gonna, you see him topping off his water there on the right. Anyway, I think that it was a lot of fun. I think that I would recommend this game to educators to just kind of learn about the kind of system that this is. I don't know that I would expect. I don't know that I would want. I've had enough problems with students playing on Roblox when I didn't want them to, that I just don't know that I would want to mess with it with middle school students. But again, I could imagine something that was custom made for teachers in Roblox that could be very useful in online schooling. So if that day comes, I'm in. I definitely want to know about it, and I definitely want to hear about it. And we will continue to try to find ways to engage young people, to teach them to be our grown-ups of tomorrow. All right, thank you, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Good night.